first time this season, I get to review a week of NFL football. Kind of like the bedrock of this channel in a way. These are the videos that have really grown my channel the last 2 years I've covered the NFL season. So, I always like to pay special mind to doing these. This year I've decided I'm not going to do the little Excel spreadsheet thing. I just have my predictions here. I'm going to mark them off as I go. I have some game notes here that I wrote down as I was watching the games this week. And that's pretty much it. I might put some graphics or something in editing, I'm not sure, but before we get into this week, I just want to say that if you haven't yet, I have a Discord for this channel, a little Discord community, and we have sports talk channel in there and stuff, and during the games we there's a group of us in there talking about what's going on during the games, and that'll be true for all this NFL season, plus going into hockey, basketball season, all that stuff, so I'll hop in there if that sounds like something you'd be interested in. I did find it tricky watching games this first week. Being in a different time zone now, a lot of these games are on at 3 a.m. But I did get to watch 4 games in full all the way through. The 4 games I watched this week were the Chiefs versus Lions, Seahawks versus Rams, Giants versus Cowboys, and Jets versus Bills. So, let's talk about our first game here, and thankfully I watched this one, Lions versus Chiefs, and I predicted that the Lions would win this one. The Lions do win by a final score of 21-20. One thing that immediately stood out to me at the start of this game is I do not like the new NFL kickoff rule, the fair catch kickoff rule, even if it's not a touchback. Like, I'm not a fan of that. Where you can just fair catch on a kickoff, automatically get 25 yards. I think that's the college rule they brought in this season, and I'm not a fan. I predicted that this would be an upset, and honestly, I think that it wasn't as much of an upset as it was like Kelsey being out, obviously, played a huge role. And what's that other guy? Jones. I think they just re-signed him today. His absence was definitely felt for the Chiefs, but he'll be back next week. I don't know when Kelsey's expected to be back. But some things I made note of during this game, as I said, that the run game for Detroit was just an absolute. They had a great run game, especially Jahmyr Gibbs. Now I know that he wasn't getting a ton of touches, especially in the first half. I think Montgomery ended up having the most carries. He had 21 carries for the Lions, but I felt like every time Gibbs was running the ball, he was just making big explosive plays and really like chunking up yardage like crazy. I would like to see Gibbs getting more touches next week. Well, maybe not next week, they're playing the Seahawks, but as the season goes by, I definitely think Gibbs will be needing to get more of those touches. Not that Montgomery's bad, but he always looked like a threat. Amon-Ra St. Brown gets the first receiving touchdown of the season, and he looked good this whole game. Amon-Ra did, which I love that because he's a dope name. He's named after the bad guy from Thundercats. But the Detroit defense was really pressuring Mahomes this game, especially in the second half, mainly in that third quarter. I feel like in the fourth quarter, the Chiefs O-line had maybe kind of shorted up a little bit, but that third quarter, Mahomes was getting pressured like every time he was dropping back, and that Detroit defense really in that second half stepped up, and it forced the very first pick six of Patrick Mahomes' entire career. His very first pick six. And for the Chiefs, a game that you lose by a single point, obviously that is a big factor in that. And Detroit got a huge stop after that touchdown as well. I believe it was like a third down. They got a really big stop. They forced a 3-and-out right after that. And that really, it felt like, put the momentum in their favor. But like a big story coming out of this game is obviously Kadarius Toney. The Chiefs traded for him from the Giants. And they had him listed as a wide receiver. Like, you know, when they're talking about him, they're calling him a wide receiver, but I'm like 99% sure they had him in at tight end because Kelsey was out. Let me know if that's wrong, but I'm pretty sure he was at tight end, but everyone keeps saying he was a wide receiver. I don't know why. But he had 3 drops this game. I think that all of his targets were drops. I don't think he completed a pass, or I don't think he got a reception this game. And the pass to Toney was one of the passes that went back for the pick six. And on basically all those drops, he was wide open with like a ton of daylight in front of him. Like they could have all been big yardage plays or even scoring plays. 2 other little notes here I made about this game. I said that the Chiefs were getting booed off the field at home on banner night. They know there is Super Bowl banner and they get booed off at the field. And I said that the Kansas City receivers were really not stepping up in the fourth quarter. There's a lot of lazy routes. Guys just not really fighting to get open. Like it kind of looked like they just kind of gave up in that fourth quarter. Your final stat lines are your QBs. Jared Goff, 22 completions on 35 attempts. 253 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Patrick Mahomes, he goes 21 for 39, 226 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. But the Detroit Lions look really good, and coming into Seattle next week with a really disappointing game that I'll get to later. I think that the Lions can start the season out 2-0. They look really solid. Which I'm happy about because I was pretty high on them coming into this season. Next up, a game I did not watch, unfortunately, with the Houston Texans versus the Baltimore Ravens. I predicted a Ravens win here, and the Ravens do get the victory. 25 points to 9 for the Texans. CJ Stroud in his debut game, 28 completions on 44 attempts, 242 passing yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions either. Honestly, not a terrible debut. It sounds like he got him within field goal range 3 times. Lamar Jackson, his first game after signing that big contract, 17 completions on 22 attempts, 169 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. Next up, the Panthers versus the Falcons. I predicted a Falcons win on this game, and the Falcons do get the victory, 24-10. Bryce Young in his very first game, he goes 20 completions on 38 attempts, 146 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Lucky for him, none of those were pick sixes. You don't want that, especially in your rookie debut. I've had my question marks around Bryce Young. I think that his size will definitely be a factor. Like, there were some preseason videos, and like him in his pads, it literally looked like somebody's like little brother had come to the game or something. Like, it was kind of shocking, I'm not gonna lie. Obviously just one game here, but and it's an away game, you're in Atlanta, but still, I mean, the Falcons, they put up 24 on that Panthers. Desmond Ridder was 15 for 18, 115 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. He wasn't slinging the ball too much, but he did get the first passing touchdown at this game to Bijan Robinson. Bijan Robinson looked nice. He's a good pickup for the Falcons. And I think the Falcons, I might take them next week too. I forget who they're playing, but my prediction video will be tomorrow. Next up, and I'm really just going to talk about the games that I actually watched. And then like every week I'm going to try and watch a different team. So next up we have the Bengals versus the Browns. I predicted the Browns to win this one, but I was not expecting it to be like this. Where were the sacks? Burrow got sacked twice or 3 times. The way they have it laid out, it's kind of weird. I can't tell, but I think Burrow got sacked twice. So again, that O-line, that was an issue last year, and that looks like it's continuing to be an issue this year. His completion rating is really not great this game. Hold on, I have to sneeze. Sorry about that, just a sneeze. I think I said 24-3 is the final score. But yeah, Burrow's completion rating 14 for 31, only 82 yards. I can't think of the last time Burrow didn't break triple digits passing. Must have been his rookie season, I think. Well, no, he came out early, so maybe his second season, I don't know. But it's been a hot minute. And, I kind of thought that Joe Mixon might do something for the Bengals. I was like, well, if Joe Mixon gets going, now he wasn't great. 56 yards on 13 carries. And Jamar Chase also kind of just looked not great this game. Like all of the Bengals just looked off, is what I want to say. And definitely part of that, I think, is the O-line. Burrow's not getting a ton of time to throw. And the Browns look good. I'm definitely buying on the Browns. At the end of this video, after my final review, I'll talk about which team I'm high on and which team I'm selling on. But yeah, I predicted the Browns to win, but I wasn't expecting it to be like this. They look just totally outclassed the Bengals here. What's interesting is the Bengals and the Bills, we'll talk about later, both kind of seem to be like in the same weird situation right now. I'll get to that. Burrow 14 for 31, just under 50% accuracy, 82 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Deshaun Watson, he goes 16 for 29, 154 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Nick Chubb doing the work, 118 carries on 106 yards for the Browns. Still a great game from Chubb. Now we have a game. This is my first inaccurate prediction. Niners versus Steelers. I predicted the Steelers to win. But the Niners get a dominant victory here. 30 points to 7, and this game did not go the way I thought it was going to. I expected this to be a defensive slugfest, and I thought this game was mainly going to be decided by the J.J. Watt Bosa matchup. I thought that was going to be what turned this game. I expected this to be a very low-scoring game. Like, I thought this game might end like 10-3 or 10-7 or something. But no, the Niners put up a 30 ball on the Steelers. Christian McCaffrey has a monster game. And rushing game, he has 152 yards on 22 carries and a rushing touchdown. And Brandon Ayuk looked like a monster. Brandon Ayuk is 8 receptions on 8 targets, so he got every ball that went his way. He got 129 yards and 2 touchdowns, averaging a little bit more than 15 yards per catch. Brock Purdy Steelers to be good, but I wasn't expecting to be this good. I don't know if they're Super Bowl contender quality, but they're like the tier below. Like they're like, you know, they're not an A plus, but they're an A right now. And I'm not saying they won't or can't make the Super Bowl. I'm just saying right now I don't think they're like a top 3 favorite, but maybe a top 5, top 6. Birdie goes 19 for 29, 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Kenny Pickett goes 31 for 46, 232 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. And I think that by the time Brock Purdy hit triple-digit yardage, Kenny Pickett still had single-digit yardage. And I think also part of the reason I was high on the Steelers is I kind of bought into all that off-season Kenny Pickett hype. That's dead for me now. Steelers is one of the teams I'm selling on. I'm not gonna, because there's certain teams, like in my mind, I have like a power ranking, and the Steelers definitely went way down for me this week, and the Niners went up. Cardinals versus Commanders. I thought the Commanders would win this one, and they did. Excuse me. And they did win this one. But it was a lot closer than I thought it would be. Because I kind of said the Cardinals seem like they're like openly tanking this season. But this was a 4-point game. The Washington Commanders win it 20-16. Joshua Dobbs in a QB for the Cardinals. I'm gonna be honest, I've never heard of this guy. 21 completions on 30 attempts, 132 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Sam Howell in for the Commanders. Sorry, a little bit of a catch in my throat. Sam Howell in for the Commanders, 19 for 31, 202 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. This is kind of like the QB matchup of the Who's. Like, who is that? I mean, this guy Joshua Dobbs doesn't even have eyebrows in his picture, so like, I don't know what's going on there. I'm gonna be really bad if this guy's a medical condition. Oh, I am. Okay. Alright, anyways, moving on. The Buccaneers versus the Vikings. I predicted the Vikings to win here. I think most people probably did. Buccaneers were considered a bottom tier team this season. You're starting Baker Mayfield, of all people. A lot of people consider a bust at this point. A lot of your best players aren't there anymore. And the Vikings looked really good last season. They've one of the best receivers in the league. I thought the Vikings would kind of be on an upwards trajectory this season, but kind of looks like the Vikings took a step back. Buccaneers win this one 20-17 in Minneapolis. And Vikings are another team I'm selling on. They are going down in my power rankings. I don't know if I'm raising the Buccaneers up just yet, but the Vikings are going down. Baker Mayfield revenge season. 21 completions on 34 attempts, 173 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Kirk Cousins, 33 completions on 44 attempts, 344 yards. Kirk Cousins almost threw for 350 in a game he lost. I feel like that's like a quintessential Kirk Cousins game, right? Really good completion rating, really high yardage, loss. It's just so weird. I don't know. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Justin Jefferson, 9 receptions on 12 targets for 150 yards, 0 touchdowns. Like, that's crazy to me. How can you put up that many yards and still lose? It's so weird. yards, also fumbled the ball, which led to a touchdown. So it's not an interception, but I'm going to count it as one. Anthony Richardson, his first game, he was 24 for 37, 223 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. And he also gets a rushing touchdown, which was his first NFL touchdown. He ran it in. And one thing I noticed about Richardson in this game is he looks massive. Like, a dude is a unit. Okay. Titans versus Saints. Saints surprised me in this one. I thought the Titans would win here, and I thought they'd win decently comfortably. Personally, I just don't really have faith in Derek Carr, but the Saints do get the win here, and they're going up my internal power rankings a little bit. Final score 16-15 there in New Orleans. Ryan Tannehill goes 16 for 34, 198 yards, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Now, if you thought that was bad, wait till the Bills game. But yeah, Ryan Tannehill had a real stinker this game, and Jamal Williams and Derrick Henry both kind of didn't have great games. Like, there wasn't the rushing. Really seems like the rushing was really shut down. You have fewer than 200 combined rushing yards. This game was really all in the air, which in those kind of games you don't really expect Derek Carr to win shootouts. But maybe he's in a shootout with Ryan Tannehill, he will, I guess. Carr goes 23 for 33, 305 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. I think I said that already, but that is my third incorrect of the day. Raiders, Broncos. I thought the Broncos would get this at home in Denver, game 1. Like, that's usually a pretty favorable matchup for Denver. I think they've won the majority of week 1 home games in their history. But no, the Raiders get the victory. Their final score 17-16. And this game was just like weirdly back and forth the whole time, which, like I said, I wasn't expecting. Jimmy Garoppolo, his first game with his new team, 20 completions on 26 attempts, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Russell Wilson, he had a really good game, actually. Russ looked great in this game, which, he needed that, especially after, having a pretty rough season last season. Like, he was getting absolutely clowned on last season, but he looked really good in this one. 27 completions on 34 attempts, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. But Jacoby Myers was really the difference maker in this game, in my opinion, for the Raiders. All the big plays, they were all going through Myers. He was getting them first downs, he was getting them junk yardage. Like, Garoppolo and him kind of seemed to have gotten a little bit of like a chemistry going as the game went along. Dolphins, Chargers. I thought the Chargers would win this, especially with what's his name injured, the cornerback who was injured. Used to be a Ram. Why can't I think of his name? It'll come to me, but the starting cornerback of the Dolphins traded for Hart in preseason, he was out, and I was like, alright, well, I think the Chargers will probably get this one then. But the Dolphins end up winning this 36-34, close game. Which is a game it's hard for me to really evaluate, get a feel for any team after this game, because I still have some questions about that Miami defense. But I don't know, I'm kind of selling a little bit on the Chargers. I don't know how much I'm buying the Dolphins at this point. Tua Tagovailoa, 28 completions on 45 attempts, 466 yards. Dude was airing it out. I think that's the most yardage for a QB in week 1 this season. 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. I think he had the second best QB rating of the week behind Cousins. And then Justin Herbert, he goes 23 for 33, 228 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. But Herbert also got a rushing touchdown. Remember, he is a dual threat, but Tyreek Hill was the difference maker here. 11 receptions for 215 yards, almost 20 yards per reception, and 2 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill is a first-round pick in fantasy football for a reason. Absolute monster. Now we come to the second game that I watched all the way through. Rams versus Seahawks. I picked the Seahawks to win this one. They were a 5.5 point favorite. And wow, this game was a disappointment. Kind of stopped the hype train for me on this season. I thought this season we'd have a top 10 defense, top 10 offense. That was kind of what I was thinking. I really liked our moves this offseason. But this game really made me question both the offense and defense. So just some notes I had during the game. DK, his first touchdowns on a short, crafty route, which obviously has been a weakness of his. And I thought early the Seattle crowd was getting to Stafford. You got to lay a game on the Rams there early. But then the first signs of the defensive issues showed up because the Seahawks were really having trouble covering the middle of the field. Like, anytime the Rams were throwing the ball, they would just throw it right in the middle. They'd have somebody wide open. The edges would be locked down, but the entire middle, there was just nobody there the whole game. So I'm sitting there, like, our defense is supposed to be really good. Now, Devin Witherspoon isn't playing. Jamal Adams obviously isn't playing, but even without them, like, our defense should be better than the Rams, like, offense, because nobody's expecting the Rams to do anything this season. And then the Seahawks are in scoring position getting towards the end of the first half. They don't get a touchdown, they miss a field goal. And that's when I was like, oh, that's not good. And then they came out in the second half. It was just a bloodbath. Both Cross and Lucas, the starting left and right tackles, go out injured. And just, again, the Rams just carved them up down the middle, and there was no defensive adjustment. So, like I said, the hype train for this season kind of has hit a just immediate roadblock, and I don't like that the players on defense for Seattle, I feel like, are good enough to where that shouldn't have been an issue. And the offense, now Lockett does get hurt, but you have DK, you have Bobo, you have Disley, like, you have a lot of good targets, you have a good running back. They only had 12 yards that second half. Like, I don't know how that's possible. Like, especially when you have a deep threat like DK. Like, I saw people blaming Geno, but like, he had no time either. Like, the pocket was just getting destroyed. He had like a second and a half, 2 seconds to make any decision, so DK couldn't even really get a full head of steam, go deep by the time he had like linemen right in his face. Yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely selling on the Seahawks. I thought we'd be the second best team in the NFC West. I didn't think we'd be better than the Niners, but I thought we'd be right there. I thought we'd be second spot. I thought we'd make a wild card spot. I don't know now. I mean, it might still, just because the Cardinals are going to be trash, and the Rams, I think, they beat us obviously, but I think overall they're probably going to lose more than us. But definite questions and issues. Not happy with the outcome of this game whatsoever. I guess I should get to the actual stats. I was just going off my notes. Final score is 30-13 in favor of the Rams. Stafford goes 24 for 38. 334 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 picks. Geno Smith Smith goes 16 for 26, 112 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 picks. So that's like, yeah, I mean, Stafford didn't even throw a touchdown that whole game, and they still beat you by 17. Just ridiculous. Next up, Eagles Patriots. The game was honestly closer than I thought it would be. I predicted the Eagles, and they do get the win here, but it's 25-20. Jalen Hurts goes 22 for 33, 170 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 picks. Mac Jones, 35 completions on 54 attempts, and I think this was happening last year too, where Mac Jones is just throwing that thing over and over and over. 316 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Yeah. But the Eagles, I thought the Eagles did win, but they didn't. It wasn't as dominant of a win as I was expecting after the offseason the Eagles had. But this week one was really weird across the board. Lots of the vibes are off, especially from the teams that people thought would be top teams. Packers versus Bears. I predicted the Bears. I messed that one up, got that wrong, and I'm just saying it now. I'm selling on the Bears, so I'm going to cut my losses. All last season, I was just waiting, like, the Bears will be good, the Bears will be good. They weren't. Going into this season, the Bears had a pretty good offseason. I was like, alright, they got the pieces. They're going to take the next step. Now they'll be good. They lost by 18 to the Packers without Aaron Rodgers. And Jordan Love looked really good. If the Packers go from Favre to Rodgers and Jordan Love turns into another Hall of Fame caliber quarterback like those two are, I think at that point it has to be obvious that God is real and he is a fan of the Green Bay Packers, because that's the only thing that explains how lucky they've been with quarterbacks. Final score 38-20 in favor of the Packers. Jordan Love goes 15 for 27, 245 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Justin Fields goes 24 for 37, 216 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He didn't even get a rushing touchdown this game. Okay. Thankfully, these last 2 games are games I watched all the way through. We have the Cowboys versus the Giants. I predicted the Giants. I got that dead wrong. Yeah, so I'll go to my game notes here. Final score is 40-0 in favor of the Cowboys. I said that Daniel Jones was just getting absolutely swallowed by the Cowboys defense. And I think it's possible, I'm not saying it's likely, but I think it's possible that the Cowboys could have the best defensive front 5 overall in the NFL right now. Their pass rush is insane. Giants missed 2 field goals in the first half. That's wild. And just in the first half alone, Daniel Jones gets sacked 3 times and throws 2 interceptions. Just in the first half. And then Tony Pollard was getting the ball, and the Giants just couldn't stop him from doing anything. The Cowboys would just hand it off, and he would just go. I see here that he only had 17 yards, but it felt like more than that. It really did. Then there's one drive. On the same drive, Daniel Jones got sacked twice. On the same drive, 2 sacks. That's 2 downs where your QB is getting sacked. Like, that offensive line in New York, I don't know how it can be that bad. And then I noticed that, Dak was really getting the ball out well and quick. he would drop back, he would immediately find his target and just throw it, and like, he was wasting no time in the pocket, he wasn't scanning, he was flinging the ball out quick. And for the Cowboys, Turpin seemed like he was everywhere, he was extremely versatile. Turpin was just like getting stuff done for them all over the field, like a complete weapon for the Cowboys. And then the Giants are down 40 and towards the end of the game, and then Hodgins fumbles. And just a total, just nothing but bad news for the Giants. One of the blocked field goals was taken back for a touchdown, and one of Daniel Jones' interceptions taken back for a touchdown. So you have a blocked field goal touchdown, and you have a pick six against the Giants in this game. Like, just a disaster. Dak Prescott goes 13 for 24, 143 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 picks. Daniel Jones might have earned himself the lowest QB rating of the week 1, 15 completions on 28 attempts, 104 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 picks. But I'm buying on the Cowboys, selling on the Giants right now. Yeah. Finally, the last game. Watch this one too. Bills versus Jets. I predict the Bills here. In the prediction video, I said that Aaron Rodgers is going to have a debut like Tom Brady did his first game with the Buccaneers. Or it's going to get spoiled, but then he'll bounce back and have a good season regardless of a game 1 loss. Well, I was kind of right. Aaron Rodgers' first drive of the game goes down. Now, during the game, they said it was an ankle injury. He came out, Zach Wilson came in. After the game, they said it was an Achilles injury. But they're not saying it was an Achilles tear, but I've looked at some screenshots. I've watched the video a few times. And if you look at his sock, you can actually see the Achilles pop and roll up, kind of like Kevin Durant's did. So, even though they're not saying it, I'm telling you, his Achilles is gone. And it's Aaron Rodgers is 39 years old. This December he will be 40. It is very possible that we just watched the very last game of Aaron Rodgers' NFL career. I'm not trying to be, dramatic about that, but it's extremely possible that we just watched his last game and it ended with him tearing his Achilles on the first drive with his new team, which would be very unfortunate. But that's the big story of this game. The other story is Josh Allen looking terrible. The Bills in general looked bad, but this loss is squarely on Josh Allen. I don't think anyone else is responsible for this loss besides him. Opening drive for the Bills, he throws it directly to Isaiah Whitehead. And the thing is, I don't even know who the target was on that. Whitehead it's like he threw the ball to Whitehead. I don't know. There was no receiver near him on that first pick. Then Breece Hall breaks off a huge run. And I'm noticing that, even though they're not getting picked, Josh Allen's making a lot of risky passes. He's throwing a lot of 50-50 balls, throwing into double coverage, throwing to a smothered receiver. I'm watching Josh Allen throw the ball, and I'm like, why'd you pick that target? So because on a lot of these, there's open receivers short. But it seemed like this whole game, Josh Allen was trying to hit the deep ball. There'd be somebody wide open, 5-10 yards downfield, but he would throw it to a receiver that's double covered to 30 yards downfield because he wants the big play. And I'm saying, when did Josh Allen turn into Brett Favre? he literally looks like Brett Favre, like past his prime when he was just throwing deep balls that he'd put up like 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions in a game. Like, that's what he was reminding me of. But that Jets defense was suffocating him, dude. Like, he was pressured basically every time he dropped back to pass. Quincy Williams, especially. Quincy Williams was a monster. He had 10 tackles in the first half. He was breaking up passes. He was smothering. Quincy Williams was really good. Isaiah Whitehead ends this game with 3 interceptions on Josh Allen. He was the second most targeted receiver in this game by Josh Allen. And Josh Allen's accuracy was just so bad. Like, it's like, I don't know. I literally don't have an explanation for why he was playing like this. And the Bills defense just couldn't get off the field, and they ended up giving up a touchdown to Garrett Wilson with an amazing touchdown. Garrett Wilson, kind of like a spinning catch, and he just barely gets it. Great play by him. Then that final drive, they march down. Josh Allen, finally making short, smart, accurate passes. They march down the field. Bass almost misses the field goal, but it doinks into their tie game. Go to overtime. Bills get the ball, and then their offense just goes nowhere. They go to punt. They punt the ball, and the punt is returned for a game-winning walk-off touchdown by the New York Jets. The New York Jets, who lose Aaron Rodgers for the season in the first game. You have Zach Wilson, who has the confidence at this point of like he has no confidence at all at this point. They came in and beat the Buffalo Bills, who a lot of people consider like a Super Bowl contender. I am selling hard on the Bills. Until the Bills show me something, I'm not choosing them in my predictions, like unless it's an obvious matchup. I don't know what was wrong with Josh Allen this game, but I've never seen him look that bad. Final score 22-16 in favor of the Jets. Josh Allen goes 29 for 41, 236 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Zach Wilson 14 of 21, 140 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And I didn't do great on my predictions. Out of 16 games, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I was 7 for 16. Let me just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, 7 for 16. Sorry, to get my calculator out. Alright, do 7 divided by 16. So right now I'm sitting at a 44% accuracy to start the season on my predictions at the end of week 1. Hopefully we can bump that up. I feel like we should be able to, but I guess we'll see. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, join the Discord if you want to. The link's in the description. If you liked the video, please leave a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more content just like this almost every single day. Until next time, guys. Bye bye.